Good morning, everyone. My name is Matt Coleman. I'm head of data policy at DfT. As Anthony said here, I'm just going to sort of give the sort of data headlines of some of the stuff that's going on in DfT at the moment, but obviously not all of it, because there's quite a bit going on these days in the data space. So the data headlines are the transport data strategy, the TSC, the Transport Select Inquiry into the future of transport data, budget announcement on smart data, discovery into big data and AI, and TTF data working group online. So in terms of the transport data strategy, which I spoke about at the last TTF event, it's been published for about a year. This is very much about laying the foundations. It sets out themes and principles around data and what we want to do in this space to create a healthy data ecosystem, to improve data sharing and data interoperability. It doesn't go into details about how we're going in to do that. It also didn't go into much about AI. AI has got particularly hot in the last year, hence why we're doing the transport AI strategy, which my colleague Alex will be talking about later. So it's based around the 5 themes, based on some very comprehensive user research with people like yourselves. So thank you for those that inputted. It is a live document. And the TSE inquiry, which I'll say a little bit about, has been a useful platform for engagement on the TDS and where we go next. It's also meant that some of the engagement we had planned in various user groups and things like that, we haven't had to do because the TSE have kindly doing it for us. So in terms of the TSE inquiry into the future of transport data, there was a call of evidence over the summer, which some of you may have actually submitted evidence to. And there's about 50 written responses. This stuff is all online. There's been oral evidence sessions where people come in and get questioned by some MPs, and they've gone quite far-reaching in terms of academia, research, rail, highways, freight, and maritime. It's all been very high level, which is good and explorative. It hasn't been one of those things where the MPs have taken holding DfT over the coals. It's been a very sort of genuine listening exercise about how can we do more with data for public benefit. DfT is making its appearance on the 3rd of July. Thankfully, I won't have to be questioned, which is great. And that will also be online if you're so inclined to watch it. And then the TSE publishes a report, and then DfT has to respond. And that will be happening over the coming year. I couldn't resist that one. Smart data, it was mentioned in the budget. So by smart data, I don't mean what some of you may think is smart data, because it means different things to different people. It's not like stuff that comes out of sensors in bridges. This is stuff that is about data portability, a bit like open banking, where basically your personal data can be shared with other people to do interesting things with it in terms of new digital products and services. So in the budget, they announced they want to have a big bang of extending that to other sectors, including transport, to get the economic value. And they've come up with some quite big numbers about what that might be for the economy, customer value, efficiencies, encouraging green behaviours, all those kind of great stuff. Visibility in the transport sector is understandably low. Can I just have a quick show of hands of anybody who actually picks up in the budget about this smart data thing? Yeah, okay. I'm not well done. So we had some interesting conversations with Treasury leading up to that, and we came up with a solution where we would do a discovery into what that means in the transport space. Because transport, as we talked about in the working group yesterday, is actually quite different to banking, quite different indeed. And talk about big and difficult, this, I think, would be in that category. We've been working with Tech UK, who have just been brilliant, about how we can engage with the sector on this. We're about to go out to the market for a framework to commission this work. And we're talking about some potential use cases. To give you a flavour of the thing we're kind of talking about, is things like mobility as a service, multimodal and multi-operator ticketing, which kind of all gets conflated a bit, EV charging, parking, freight, last mile delivery, maybe even e-scooters. That came up yesterday. So watch this space. There will be, some of you may be, people might reach out via the consultants for advice and support on this project. We are genuinely taking an open, blank sheet of paper approach to this. We're not wedded to, we've got no kind of, we want to see if there actually are some potential use cases here that might work in the transport space. It is certainly possible that there might not be yet. So we're taking a very open mind to that. Another discovery. Discovery into big data. This builds on the work already in the transport data strategy and also supports the transport AI strategy. For AI to work and other technologies, you need big data. And by big data, I mean high volume, real-time data in the transport context. We also look at other data sets which might not technically be big data, but that gives a kind of feel of the kind of thing we're looking at. What makes it particularly interesting is that's the kind of data that DfTC, central DfT, doesn't have. We have some sort of geography data that actually may fit into that category, but generally we don't have that data. So we're going to have to find out what is held by others in the sector, whether it's operators, transport operators, big tech, local authorities, and our agencies, etc. We're going to be starting very broad indeed, and we're going to be taking a funneling approach. We're going to look at all modes, data from sensors, apps, transport-related data, etc. We're looking at a long list, short list, then deep dives if we find some interesting examples with break clauses through that. So if we don't find anything, we're not really spending taxpayers' money on things we don't need. And we'll be exploring data availability, quality, benefits, commercials, the costs, the risks, data protection, all those kind of things, but also the use cases. I think what we've realised is that actually you could go on a fishing trip in a very big ocean with a very small boat and actually not catch very much. So we need to understand what those use cases are at the beginning and kind of match that with the data. Sort of speed dating thing, a bit of a theme today. And this is all going to be done by the autumn for some reason. The other one is a quick plug for the open data site on TTF website. Some of you may have seen we've added some resources on there, links to some resources which you may find useful on transport. Over the coming year, we want to booster that, potentially put use cases on there. And so this afternoon session is going to be particularly interesting for me about what we could take from that. Takes other stuff that's already out there from, in the wider data and digital space that might actually be useful for local authorities and supply chain. We had a working group meeting yesterday, which I thought was excellent. So thank you for those people who attended it. I found it incredibly useful and keen to do something like that again. So we want to use this as a kind of focal point for transport data, the kind of flag that we can all kind of gather around. And looking forward to working with some of you through the working group on populating that. Any questions and contributions, please use that web address there. So it keeps my inbox a bit more under control. Thank you for listening.